Governor Pritzker signed SB 1863 just 3 months ago. Our election division has been very busy to comply with this new law. And most significantly, the law calls for the expansion for vote by mail due to COVID-19. All recent voters in Illinois were to be sent vote by mail applications. Early voting hours are to be increased. Election Day, November 3rd, has been declared a state holiday. Schools will be made available as polling places where necessary. A large central polling place must be established for Election Day. And finally, a bipartisan panel of 3 judges will determine if a vote by mail ballot can be rejected. All told, our office will receive an additional $3.5 million in CARES Act funding to our budget, roughly $1.5 million from the Illinois State Board of Elections, and at least $2 million from DuPage. And I'm very pleased that the county board provided bipartisan support for funding to make our 2020 election run smoothly. This funding has paid for a new mail sorter and other equipment to specifically support vote by mail operations, the printing of vote by mail applications and envelopes, postage, staffing, PPE, and other necessary resources. For voters, very little has changed regarding voting. On November 3rd, we will have Election Day voting at 268 polling places. We will have early voting starting October 19th with additional sites available. We will have in-person absentee at DuPage Fairgrounds starting September 24th. And again, we will offer vote by mail, which is essentially the same, only bigger. Let's first talk about vote by mail. To date, we have received 140,000 vote by mail ballot applications. That's nearly 4 times the total requested in 2016 and nearly 3 times requested in 2018. And it's just the middle of September. We have about 627 registered voters. Within a week or so, I anticipate that nearly 1/4 of total registered voters will have applied for vote by mail. If COVID-19 cases rise, the number by Election Day is anyone's guess. Now here's what voters can do to help make vote by mail run smoothly in 2020. First, I strongly encourage voters who intend to vote by mail to apply for a ballot early, as in now. The easiest way to do so is securely online through our website. We launched our online application the day the governor signed SB 1863. It just takes a minute to apply online. Or voters can fill in the application sent out 6 weeks ago, and I hope this looks familiar to the DuPage residents. Voters can fill out this application and drop it in the mail without a stamp, or if they prefer, they could place the application in the envelope and mail it back with postage. There's a how-to video circulating on social media, which can also be found on our website's homepage and Facebook page. And while I mention it, please go to our Facebook and Twitter pages to like and follow. Thank you. After applications are sent in, voters need to be reminded to be patient. By law, ballots cannot be mailed out until September 24th, and we're just finalizing the ballot now. Another 4 to 5 days must be allowed for delivery, so don't expect your ballot until close to October 1st. Calling our office will not expedite this initial process. Our election office is actually swamped with calls right now. When the ballot arrives, it will look like the paper ballot in a polling place where you fill in the ovals with dark ink, blue or black. Spread the word. Please complete the ballot as soon as possible and place it in the envelope provided and seal it. On the back of the envelope is a red box where you must sign your name, and your signature will be compared with your voter registration signature for verification. So that quick little squiggle you make for credit card purchases at stores will not work unless, of course, you use that identical squiggle when you register to vote. Postage will be paid for, so no worries about hunting for a stamp. And then just drop it in a mailbox. Done. Ballot envelopes that are returned to our office unsealed, unsigned, or without a signature that doesn't reasonably resemble your voter registration signature will be rejected. If rejected, you'll be notified and given the opportunity to correct the problem. But it's so much easier and faster to follow the simple instructions the first time and be done with it. And then these simple instructions will be explained in an insert going out with each ballot. And it will look like this. One side in English, the other side in Spanish. If you're planning to vote by mail, here's why we're asking you to do so early. In the big vote by mail states, registered voters are generally not sent applications. Voters in these states are sent ballots weeks in advance, and those ballots start to be returned right away, and most are received by Election Day. The vote by mail states know what's coming, and that's why it works. Illinois is not a vote by mail state per se. In the big vote by mail states, it took years to implement vote by mail in increments. We're doing so in half a year during a pandemic. In Illinois, we have an application process prior to sending out the ballots, and processing tens, if not hundreds of thousands of applications in a county our size is a massive, time-consuming process and requires the work of many individuals. We have over a dozen people processing applications all day long right now. It becomes much more challenging the closer we get to Election Day. And if applications are coming in late in October, then it means that ballots are also going out late in October. Vote by mail is not the best choice for procrastinators. Those waiting until the last 2 weeks of October to vote should consider going to early voting or Election Day polling places. By law, voters can still apply for vote by mail until October 29th, but that's very risky. That deadline needs to be revisited. So let's just pretend that the vote by mail deadline is much earlier. We've all heard the term flatten the curve a lot this year, and this phrase also pertains to vote by mail. To flatten the curve, those who are planning to vote by mail should apply securely on our website now, and then return the completed application in mailboxes. And then return the ballot in mailboxes right away. The election division will be able to process the application and have the ballot sent out on September the 24th, but it will take until probably about October 1st for it to arrive in your mailbox. So please complete it and drop it in the mail right away. The more ballots we receive earlier, the better, and the curve will be flattened instead of spiking near Election Day. On that note, there's a cool graphic our office created on Facebook and Twitter pages called Flatten the Vote by Mail Curve. Please share this graphic broadly on social media. Note that I've been urging everyone to drop their vote by mail ballot in a mailbox. Vote by mail is designed to work with the U.S. Postal Service. The post office was enthusiastic and proud to be fulfilling the service of vote by mail. Our office had meetings with the regional post office director long before recent developments. For those who apply early and complete their ballots right away, I don't anticipate a problem. After all, we're depending on the post office to send the ballots to you in the first place. So when you receive your ballot, it means it's working. The post office has assured us that nationwide, they plan on placing postmarks on ballots. For those who haven't completed their vote by mail ballots until the last days, or would feel more comfortable returning their ballots another way, we have the following options for returning them. Drop boxes will be at the parking lot and within the main entrance of the 421 County Farm Road, Wheaton County campus. Just like with the application our office has mailed out, the drop boxes will be bright and colorful, red, white, and blue. The outdoor drop box is very solid and literally weighs a ton. It will be embedded in cement. It has a small slit opening just big enough for a ballot to slip through. The parking lot is well lit and will have camera surveillance. A security guard in the 421 building monitors the cameras 24/7. Teams of election judges will empty the outdoor drop box as needed. Vote by mail ballots may be dropped off at the County Clerk Election Division office or inside early voting and election day polling places. So altogether, that's nearly 300 drop boxes. For the 2020 election, we're offering Ballot Tracks. Voters choosing vote by mail can go to the home page of our election website and click Track Your Vote by Mail Ballot. This will take you to a service that will do exactly that. Voters can opt to have updates via email or text on the path of their vote by mail ballot. By signing up, you will know when the ballot has been mailed to you and when it has been received at our office and when it's been officially accepted by election judges. Only 2,000 voters have signed up for Ballot Tracks so far out of 140,000 applicants. If you've applied for vote by mail, then do the next step by signing up for Ballot Tracks, found on the button directly under our video on the home page. While you're hearing heavy emphasis on vote by mail tonight, please keep in mind that it's one of several options available. We still have the conventional early voting and election day. Absentee early voting begins September 24th at the fairgrounds. With absentee in-person early voting, you will be issued a paper ballot. And by the way, this is how I chose to vote during the primary. And in those early days, 2, 3, 4 weeks prior to the election, there were hardly any voters in line. Hint, again, that's absentee in-person early voting. You can vote on paper, and this option starts September 24th at the fairgrounds. It's been under the radar in DuPage elections way too long. Regular early voting starts on October 19th, and this is where you vote on touchscreens at locations throughout DuPage. We've increased those locations by 50%, beginning in underserved areas of the county. Those new early voting locations can be found on our website. Just go to the home page and click the button Early Voting Locations. Finally, there's Election Day itself on November 3rd at your assigned polling place where you can vote on paper or touchscreen. Some polling places will be changing. Notifications are going to be sent out to those voters, and at this point, we're still planning on having 268 Election Day polling places. Before I conclude, I want to make several important points. Yes, we will be paying election judges more in 2020. Judges will receive a base pay of $130 and a COVID supplement of another $130 for a total of $260. We're always recruiting for election judges, and we could use more Republican election judges at this time. Just go to our homepage and click the button, Apply to be a judge of election. Yes, we will be providing personal protection equipment, sanitation supplies, social distancing markers, and COVID-19 signage at polling places to help keep judges and voters safe. With the expansion of vote by mail in Illinois and around the country, gone are the days where election results are pretty much done on election night. With potentially tens of thousands of ballots arriving to our office after November 3rd, it's very possible that results in some close races will flip between November 3rd and the following 14-day period prior to certification. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer some questions.
Wonderful. Let me go. There we go. Sorry about that. All right. First question. I returned one, I'm guessing the mail-in ballot by US mail, or no, I returned an application for a ballot on August 13th, 2020, but have not received a ballot yet. What do I do now? Can you confirm my application was received and I'm successfully registered to vote by mail?
Well, first of all, you haven't received a ballot because the ballot's not even done yet. And by law, we can't mail it out until September the 24th. And then you have to wait about a week for it to arrive to your home. So look for it around October the 1st. But I would also, in the meantime, go to our website and sign up for Ballot Tracks. It's right on the homepage. You can find the button underneath the video, and it only takes a minute to sign up. And then once your ballot is in the system and it's moving along, you'll be able to track it.
Thank you. The next question is, I live in Lisle. If circumstances change and I'm able to vote in person early, can I vote at my local township office? And then it gives 4711 Indiana Avenue, Lisle.
I'm not sure. Could you repeat that? I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I live in Lisle. If circumstances change and I'm able to vote in person early, my guess is instead of vote by mail, can I vote at my local township office?
Well, if that's your, yeah, for early voting, you can vote anywhere in DuPage County. You don't have to be at a certain place. But I'm wondering if the question is something about applying for vote by mail and then wanting to then change your mind and apply in early. Yeah, you can do that. It would be better if those who chose vote by mail were sincere and then follow through on that, because a great deal of time, effort, and money goes into processing these these ballots for vote by mail. And also, the whole reason why it's been expanded is to try to keep people safe and not in the polling places. But yes, you can, if you do change your mind, yes, you can go to an early voting site and vote there.
All right. Let's see. I have already applied for a mail-in ballot. I heard that they're very particular about signature on the envelope or it won't be counted. My question revolves around the proper procedure for filling out and returning the ballot. What is the correct procedure? Can I drop it in the mail? I heard it is recommended to bring it to the county and have them confirm. Is that necessary?
No, partly. Again, this information sheet is going to be inside the ballot packet. It's really not hard to vote by mail at all. And I guess I don't remember all of the questions that were, what else was asked?
I think what is the correct procedure? Can I drop it in the mail? I heard it is recommended to bring it to.
Right. And this talks about where you can drop it off to, and you can put it in a drop box. You can put it in a mailbox if it's early. Yeah, it's very easy to vote by mail.
All right. The DuPage County website for vote by mail program states voted ballots must be postmarked no later than election day in order to be counted, which implies the mail-in ballot must go through the post office in order to get a postmark?
Right. If it goes through the mail, it needs to have a postmark on or before election day. But if it's dropped off in a drop box, there's no way to have a postmark, so no. But all of those drop boxes are closed on November the 3rd at 7 o'clock. So there's absolutely no way to drop your ballot off after that time. So it will be in our custody prior to the close of election day.
All right, let's see. If a person requests a mail-in ballot, then decides not to use it, but to vote in person at an early voting location, is that allowed? Will the early voting location recognize that the mail-in ballot was never returned and allow that person to cast a ballot using an ATM-like touchscreen device?
Right. Well, when you go to a polling place and you've already applied for your vote by mail ballot, if the vote by mail ballot has arrived, you can take it to the polling place, you can complete it, fill it out before you get there, and then put it in a drop box, or you can surrender it to an election judge, and then they will go into our poll pad system and delete that vote by mail ballot, and it will be spoiled. And then you can go ahead and vote anyway, well, during early voting on a touchscreen. Unless you go to the in-person absentee voting, but if you do that and you already have your ballot, you might as well complete it and just drop it in the drop box, because that's exactly what you would be doing at the in-person absentee voting polling place at the fairgrounds.
Well, all right. The next question, will mail-in votes be counted ahead of election day? How long will it take to count mail-in votes after the election?
Not a single vote will be counted prior to 7 o'clock on election day. However, we can start feeding the vote by mail ballots in advance, 2 weeks in advance of the election. We just cannot tabulate them. And so many of those vote by mail ballots will be counted for election night. And then the counting will continue for 2 weeks after Election Day, but the bulk of the vote by mail ballots should be arriving soon after November 3rd.
All right. Let's see. Oh, this one asks about collection boxes, but just to kind of reiterate, will there be collection boxes available so no one doesn't have to rely on the post office returning ballots on time? Where will there be?
Right, 300 drop boxes. We'll have an outdoor drop box here at the 421 County Farm Road building, and then one within the main entrance. You can drop off your ballot at the election division front counter, and then every single polling place for early voting and election day will have a drop box as well.
All right. Next one is, when will the last day to put our ballots in the drop box be?
November the 3rd, 7 p.m. That's the drop dead deadline.
And when will sample ballots be available on the DuPage County website?
Early next week.
How quickly can we expect votes to be counted? I guess it's talking about the mail-in ballots. Or
the majority will be counted by election night, but it's going to continue for another 14 days, so you have to be patient. And like I said, if there are any close races, there's potential that the results will flip.
All right, I believe the last question that we have submitted, and I think we're getting close to that time. I would like to learn how to sign up to work the polls. Also, will I be assigned to a poll of my choice, or will I be designated an assignment?
Well, our election judge coordinators try to accommodate the volunteer election judges as much as possible. Sometimes that isn't possible because maybe there's already enough judges at that particular location, and then you'll be asked to go to another location. You can request that you want to be close to your home. But to work as an election judge or an election worker, you go to the homepage of our website and you scroll down right underneath the video, and it will say apply to be a judge of election. You click that, and then you have two options, and you can apply to be an election judge, or you can apply to be an election worker.
All right, I think that's all the questions, and I know we're getting close to that time, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll just wrap up by saying thank you so much for thank you so much for taking time from your incredibly busy schedule. For those attendees, someone asked about the Twitter page as well as the Facebook page. That can be found in the Q&A section. My apologies. It looks like someone also asked about my email. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the Q&A section. If you have any questions about this program, or if you'd like to make suggestions. With that said, thank you so much. And just thank you for your time. I'll go ahead and end this program. Again, thank you.
Thank you.